The concept of standard normal distribution. So this is a standard statistical concept that I think every lean manager or Six Sigma manager or even a project should know. Once you collect data and you plot all of your observations, you're going to probably most likely get a normal or a bell-shaped curve. So the curve would look something like this after you plot all your observations. Now what this curve represents is that normality of your data, which essentially means that the bottom part of the curve or any area within this curve inside the curve equals 1. Okay, so that's the first concept you need to know. So everything within the bell-shaped curved inside the curve totals 1. The curve is also symmetrical. In other words, if I were to divide this curve halfway, right, smack dab in the middle, so that would mean that the left half of the curve is identical to the right half of the curve. And the dividing line of this curve in the center is called the mean, or the mu with a Greek letter. Looks like a U, right? So that's your mean. So basically that's your starting point, that's your 0, okay? So everything to the left of the mean or the right of the mean, if you go to the right side, which is the positive direction, and on the left side of this particular mean is the negative direction. So of course the minus and the plus, right? So think of this as, negative or positive, plus or minus. So far we have two things, right? We have the plotted all of the data that you've collected, and next concept that we discussed was the area of this bell-shaped curve equals 1. Third is the symmetry. So if I divide this bell-shaped curve, both sides are identical, and the middle part is called the mu or the mean, which is 0. The left side is negative, and the right side of that particular mean is positive. Perfect. So next, the fourth concept is the standard deviation, okay, which is signified as the sigma, okay, hence the word Six Sigma, right? So it's the sixth standard deviation. Here it's only shown 1, right? So here's what standard deviation means. That means how much are you deviating from the mean itself. So from the center point, if you're deviating in the positive direction, that'll be the mu, which is the mean, plus 1 sigma, mean plus 2 sigma, mean plus 3 sigma, and of course on the opposite side would be the negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3 standard deviation. So this is really the variability, so to speak, right? How your observations are deviating from the average or from the mean itself. So notice the 1 standard deviation implies that 68% of the observations are within 1 standard deviation of the mean. Similarly, 95% of the values are 2 standard deviations from within the mean, and then 99.7% of the data are within the 3 standard deviations of the mean. So that way, once you plot a normal distribution, hence leading to a central limit theorem, which means that the higher number of observations you have, the more normal or bell-shaped curve you are going to get once you plot all those observations. That's why we take lots and lots of data, right? So the higher the number of observations, you are going to reach normality, okay? So that's important for the concept of normal distribution. And the word standard simply means where we actually use the words mu and the standard deviation. That's why it's called the standard normal distribution. Otherwise, if you just see a bell-shaped curve, that's just a normal distribution. Okay, so just know that difference as well. So I just wanted to quickly cover some of the core concept of what a normal distribution is, what data is, what observations are, what a distribution is. We talked about the mu, standard deviation, the area within the bell-shaped curve always equals 1, the positive and the negative. Of course, this bell-shaped curve can be skewed, which means it can change shape, right? So if it's tilted to the left, that means it's positively skewed. And if it's tilted to the right, that means it's negatively skewed, okay? So I'll leave you at this. Just wanted to cover the core fundamental concept of what a standard normal distribution is. Of course, as a homework that I'm going to assign right now is you need to go and explore more concept of the standard normal distribution, because in statistical analysis, this is important, and of course important for the exam too, if that's what your intentions are. So go ahead, practice with this. If you have any questions, post them in the discussion area. I'll be glad to help. With this, let's move to the next lesson.